Hello and welcome. We begin in Canada, where police say the last remaining suspect in a mass stabbing in Western Canada has died in police custody. Myles Sanderson was arrested after a high-speed chase around 100 kilometres away from where 10 people were stabbed to death and 18 others injured in one of the bloodiest acts of mass violence in Canadian history. Officers say a post-mortem will now be conducted to determine his cause of death. His brother, the other suspect, Damien Sanderson, was found dead on Monday, reportedly from injuries that did not appear self-inflicted. A motive for these killings is still unclear. Speaking at a press conference, a spokesperson for the police said Myles Sanderson was apprehended after appearing outside a house, holding a knife and then stealing a car, then going on the run.
He was arrested by police and taken into custody. A knife was located inside the vehicle. The emergency alert was cancelled at 3:50 p.m. once his identity was confirmed and he had been taken into police custody. Shortly after his arrest, he went into medical distress. Nearby, EMS were called by police to attend the scene, and he was transported to a hospital in Saskatchewan. He was pronounced deceased at the hospital. The Saskatchewan RCMP has requested the Saskatoon Police Service and the Saskatchewan Incident Response Team to conduct the independent external investigation into circumstances surrounding the incident.
Well, our North America correspondent Naomi Iqbal is in Melfort, which is close to where Myles Sanderson was found, and has more on what may have happened to him.
There are lots of conflicting reports about exactly how he died. So we know that there was a high-speed pursuit down a highway not far from where the killings actually happened. Police chased him down that road, and here in this part of the country they use a technique, a ramming technique basically, to try and isolate a suspect, and so that did happen. And so there's some reports that lead to his injuries, but also another report that these injuries were self-inflicted. You heard the police officer there, Rhonda Blackmore, mention that he had a knife with him. So there's all this speculation about exactly what happened to him, but of course the police will not go into any detail. Of course that reporters are asking the police what happened, but as the officer said there will be a post-mortem to determine exactly what happened to him, and so we're not likely to know for some time.
And this, of course, just to explain to everyone the scale of this has been a huge investigation, hasn't it?
It has. It's stretched over 3 provinces, which is about half the size of Europe. More than 100 police officers have been looking for Myles Sanderson ever since those stabbings happened on Sunday. And it's been really frustrating for the families of the victims. And we've spent some time in those communities where those killings happened, because people want to mourn. But how can you mourn when you're also fearful? Because they've been urged to stay indoors, to not come out of their communities in case Sanderson returned. And one woman even said to me that she was too scared to leave her house in case he did come back. And here, all of us, we get these really loud alerts on our mobile phones telling us about possible sightings. So one minute Sanderson was said to be seen in one part of the province, another alert said he was seen here. So it was all very, very confusing, and that really did add to the grief that people had. They were fearful, they were frustrated. But now indigenous communities in this country have said that people can now mourn, the healing process will now begin. But of course, given that both of the brothers are dead, Myles Sanderson and Damien Sanderson, police say their motives, their reasons, and why they did what they did may never be known.
Well, Mercedes Stevenson works for Global News in Canada and has told us more from the capital, Ottawa.
There are a lot of questions about how Myles Sanderson was out on the lam. He'd actually been wanted on a Canada-wide warrant since May. And when the police were asked about this, they said, well, there's lots of people wanted on these warrants who have breached their conditions. He had a very long history of significant explosive violence, including domestic abuse, including random attacks on bypassers who he beat into unconsciousness, and stabbing 2 individuals with a fork. So this was someone who had a significant history of violence, and yet somehow he got parole out of prison. So there's going to be an investigation into how that happened. There also, of course, will be an investigation into what happened during the course of this manhunt, and particularly at the end of it. You were just talking to your reporter who's here in North America about how this all went down. Our police sources told us that police on the scene believe he inflicted injuries on himself after the car was struck that led to his death after he was arrested and in police custody. But there will be a significant investigation into what happened there. Did the police contribute to his death in any way? What was his cause of death? But of course, that will all take time.